Hello everybody, welcome to the latest Worlds of ZZT livestream. Today we're going to be playing 16 Easy Pieces, the game which has basically taken over the month of June for me. It was accidentally put into the poll for a closer look, as Celine had suggested a different Flimsy Parkins game, but I put this one on by mistake. It won very handily thanks to its amazing title screen and being a Flimsy Parkins game, and it is incredible. This is going to be like my fourth playthrough, maybe fifth. It's an extremely intricate puzzle game that uses nothing but ZZT's little building blocks. There's not a single object involved in a puzzle in this entire game. So let's jump right into it. I want to try and do my best to explain what the heck you're looking at, because, well, it mostly looks like this. So expect things to get a little confusing visually. And this is how it begins, on a 2x2 screen of 4 easy pieces. So right away you got a lot to take in. First of all, there's whatever this text is in the corner here. Something about programmable logic arrays, and type systems faster than present-day hard drives. They go nearly the speed of light in less than a second. In almost every board, it's usually a full screen, but a few times there's some empty pieces, and the empty pieces are filled with strange text. So, this game pretty much demands you master ZZT's mechanics. It's very easy to make a mistake. Like if I went through this transporter, I'd immediately be trapped. If I went through this transporter, I'd immediately be trapped. And other than that, well, for now, there's no other options but to go down. The levels are structured, so you just have to get to the exit, which is done by getting all the keys and opening all the doors. Let's see how well I can do this while also talking. So right away we get to see ZZT mechanics that we don't think about, which is what happens if you put a gem in a blink wall, and it just gets quietly destroyed. You have to push some sliders the exact amount, as well as these, and I already have to make a safety save. My one complaint about this game is that depending on what cycle you're moving on, sometimes you won't be able to actually escape from a trap fast enough. The other path there would have been a dead end. And this game also taught me that if you're energized, you still get hurt by blink walls. So that's good to know. All the boards wrap around like this. Now we get to deal with some ricochets and a spinning gun. I only just now, on this latest playthrough I did earlier today, that energizer was pointless. There's a whole lot of red herrings in this game. A lot of it is figuring out what you actually do need to be doing. So even though I moved the slider here and managed to get this key without running through the path, I do have to move it again. Actually, I should have done it the other way around, but I'm almost certainly going to get hit doing this. Ooh, I lucked out. So all I have to do is use the slider here to make the ricochet. The pusher can push me through some conveyors, and I can wrap around. In playing this game, I wound up writing a full walkthrough because actually solving all of these is kind of a nightmare, but it's also a ton of fun. You're all getting spoiled and ruining the game by watching this. You get to take advantage of how centipedes move to just ignore them. Now we've got all the keys and can just get to the exit. And that's the first level. So now we go from 2x2 to 3x3. Hello, Kama. Welcome to 16 easy pieces. We are on the second level now, which is 9 easy pieces, and this time all 9 are used. The last level had that white key, which technically was optional, but as we'll see by the end, you absolutely want to get all of the optional keys. I don't think it's reasonably possible to beat the game without it. Okay, so we dodge the bullets. So this here looks like an elaborate thing, where there's a couple of keys in here and you want to run really fast, but in reality, don't want to get that other key yet. If you do, you will be trapped. So we wrap around. Now we've got a couple of keys. Get to wait patiently for the centipede so we can sneak behind them. Because we don't have any ammo. Eventually there will be ammo. But for now we just have to avoid every enemy. Okay, so I'm going to purposely trap myself here and demonstrate. The way transporters work, if there's a wall, or basically something that blocks the player on the opposite side, you'll keep going until there's a transporter pointing the other way lined up with it. If the space immediately adjacent to the transporter is empty, you'll just go inside and, get stuck. Also, every single one of these saves is for this game. And I have a folder with 50 more. It was a lot of trial and error, but again, in a very fun way. So what we need to do is move fast by letting the bomb act as a wall there. That makes the transporter go 2 ways instead of just immediately adjacent. Had I done that with better timing, I wouldn't have gotten hit by centipedes, and I think if I'm fast enough I could have evaded the explosion as well. You are on a time limit because you have to make that trip both ways. So be careful about that. Again, we're going to have to do some quick running. This room is actually a lot easier though, but you just have to get the key in time. You can see my confidence has increased in this game because now I'm just using one save. I have my walkthrough open, but I haven't looked at it. In my playthrough earlier, I didn't look at it either. I've just got this game down now. It's terrifying in a way. So this lets us wrap right around to the beginning again. Except we have a couple more keys. And then the rest is reasonably straightforward. And now we're on to the third level. This is the 16 easy pieces. This board is peculiar in that it's the only board in a game that actually does have an object on it. If you look in the room to the right, that's got the purple walls and the centipede in the middle. There's actually a secret object blocking, well, not blocking, but at the southern exit, which actually keeps the centipede out of the blink walls, because if the centipede gets destroyed by the blink walls, ZZT starts glitching out and the level can be rendered impossible in a way that's not intended for you to be losing the game. So if we're lucky, we'll see the centipede try and go that way and it'll just be destroyed by an object. But it might not do that at all. A lot of playing this game the first time is figuring out the correct order to do things, because generally speaking, the wrong order is an instant loss. So again, we get the spinning gun that we have to figure out how to traverse, but in reality we just wrap around the screen and move past it that way. And then we can do so safely. And the return trip. So you don't have to get rid of all the force, but it actually is important to get rid of... Oh, there we go. The centipede is going into the blink walls and it's just going to get destroyed by the object instead. Oh, the centipede saved itself. It keeps the centipede out. Basically it checks if it's blocked to the right by something other than the player. And if it is, it just puts an invisible wall on top of that spot and then gets rid of it. So it just erases the centipede one tile at a time. That's the first time I've ever seen the centipede actually manage to save itself and not just get completely destroyed. I didn't know it could actually break out of that, but I guess it can. So now we get a little slider puzzle here. Again, this one is pretty simple. There's not a lot to it. I hope. Get those sliders way out of the way so we won't have to worry about them later. Okay. That brings us back to here, top left. So now we have that blue key, if the centipede will let us pass. And go back to this area again and get some ammo. Uh-oh. There we go. The bullets don't hurt the centipede because they're flagged as being bullets fired by a creature and not the player. So it's invincible to them. So at this point there's technically two ways to proceed. We could go through the blink walls, shoot away the breakables, and use the bombs. Which at first I thought was like the smart way to go about it, because you might get some of the tigers in the next room, but the bomb actually don't have enough of a radius to do that. So it's generally easier, I'd say, to go this way. Conveyors kind of lock you in place here, and now we get to do some shooting. The ammo is a little tight early on. Eventually you'll get just a ton of it. Now we get these... Oh, there goes the centipede. was fun while it lasted. We did blow up some gems with the bomb, but that's not really worth the time to go and get some more, to go around and collect them. Okay, so now we have our red key. Oh, I guess I could have just stayed in here, actually. So we're going to wrap around here. I need to make it so we can access this green key and just get out and completely ignore all those tigers. And if you try to go through the blink walls in the opposite direction, you will just get destroyed. So don't do that. So instead we wrap around and go up the top and on to the next level. Raw processing power of the human brain and the never even something setting the same limits. We'll never know. I tried Googling a few choice phrases, but I could not find the source of this text. For all I know, it is originally Flimsy writing, as in Flimsy Parkins, the person who created this game. And it just keeps zooming out more and more. Now we're at 5x5 for 25 easy pieces. This is the one where I first really got stuck. I had to quit for the night and come back later. It gets a little bit more complex now, as if it wasn't already. So let's see if memory is correct. We want to do this one up and this one down. Nope. Nope, I screwed that up. Well, I got pushed out of the way. There we go. This mean room just staggers your slider pushing. So again, it's still pretty linear. And again, with how transporters work, that green one took us to this green one, but because that space is empty to the right, that made it a one-way trip. If I go in there, I'll just get trapped. One thing in particular about this level that I don't know if it's just a coincidence or if it's deliberate is these gems here are yellow, red, and purple, and that is the order that you'll collect keys. So I don't know if that's supposed to be a really subtle hint. I wouldn't be surprised. So now we get to push stuff through a transporter here, so we can collect that key later. But this transporter is now blocked, so we can't take it. When we get to this room here, where there's two other paths, and we can push the slider over, but if we do that, we're going to lock ourselves out of this path. So they become mutually exclusive, essentially, which one you can take. We also get to this part, which is where I really got stuck for a little while. You can make this trip through the blink walls easily enough, but you can't get back, and getting back is going to be an important part of solving the puzzle. So what you need to do is actually just get rid of these bombs. What I was trying to do for the longest time is, if the bomb explodes at the right time, it'll kind of desynchronize those blink walls a little. It's kind of inconsistent, and I thought what I had to do was find a way to basically make it safe to go through these blink walls both ways by desyncing them enough. But I think that's impossible. But believe me, I definitely dumped at least an hour trying. To no avail. Anyway, we get these keys. The bombs, you don't actually need them for anything per se. I purposely moved it to the corner because if I just shoved it up here, these gems up above by the exit would get destroyed, and I ought as well keep them if I can. The first playthrough of this game, I had to cheat for ammo like once or twice. I needed like 10 more bullets, and that was enough to get more ammo and not have problems for the rest of the game. I definitely had to cheat for health a lot, but at this point I can do a pretty solid job of it without any cheats. So like these gems here, as far as I'm aware, it is impossible to actually collect them. And then the centipede, we get to carefully stay ahead of it to get the blue key. Go back out. Let's see. Trying to remember my order here. Okay, yeah. So what it looks like you should be doing in this situation is pushing forward through here, because we have the green key, which is by where all those lions are. And then there's the purple key for that purple door down there. Or is that the yellow one? Either way, you get stuck, because you need that yellow key that's in the lower left. The only way to get the yellow key in the lower left is to cut off this passage. So now we're over up here again, but up above the boulders, which we push out of the way so we have an exit. This here is not a trap. I don't know why it's not a trap, but it isn't. Well, it's a red herring is what it is, because it would make you think that there would be some way to push these boulders to the left and then somehow wind up going through to the far left transporter here. But you can't do that, so don't fall for it. Instead, we're just gonna run over here, open our blue door, get our yellow key, run right back. And it was really funny, because I was talking to Celine about this, saying, well, don't spoil it for me, but you did beat this game, and you did it without cheats, right? Because I wasn't sure if my theory with the bomb and the blink wall was correct or not. And she was saying, well, I did have to cheat for that one part here, but the rest of the game I got through fine. And we're like, there's no way that everything in this game is doable except for a single puzzle in the middle of it. It's a 2005 game. I'm hoping to God that it was actually tested. And so both of us took quite a while trying to find out what we were supposed to do next here. She found it out first, and I'm like, don't tell me, because I really wanted to figure this game out for myself. And it's very stupid. We picked up that cyan key, so now we can use this transporter. Both of us were completely oblivious to this for the longest time and thought we had to cheat the game or manipulate bombs or do something. So much of this game is finding out all these complex solutions, and so much of it is actually noticing the really obvious ones. So now we have all the keys we need. Now we get to this part, which I don't like, because again, it's timing based and it's just very difficult to do reliably, so I'm expecting to have to reload a few times here. But basically you have to find a way through the forest and the pushers in a way that you don't get trapped, but you can also return through it backwards. Oh, I actually got through it first try. That one takes a little trial and error, but it's just one easy piece. And again, we get an optional torch that's very much not actually optional. Please pick up any torches. And now we get to go through this transporter from that end. And at which point we can go around here. And again, that's why at the very beginning of the level, we had to clear this whole spot open so we'd have this path up open and available. That lets us get here, where we'll reach the exit. I should probably have more ammo than this. I hope I'm not gonna run out, because I would like to get through this without cheating. And now we are at 36 easy pieces. Something about knowledge in the space of a cubic micron. And as these pieces get smaller, you'll find yourself thinking that, well, it's not going to really be all that possible to even make puzzles in such a small amount of space, but Flimsy will definitely find a way. So this right here, if you don't do that at the very end of the level, you'll find yourself trapped. It's very important to move those sliders. When we get this puzzle, which is in a billion ZZT games, and a Link to the Past a billion times as well. So this time, there's a bomb. It's, again, it's not really needed. But ideally we can get these ruffians to kind of congregate together a bit and run away at the last second. Yeah, so one made it through. It's not a big deal to have any ruffians there, but it's nice if you can get rid of all the enemies without having to use any ammo. So if you're still confused about transporters, this is a great spot to learn. You go through the purple, come out the yellow, go through the yellow, come out the other yellow. Push these sliders out, crush a gem. Push these sliders in, and now we can go yellow-purple. Bears generally only move when you're aligned with them, depending on what their sensitivity setting's at. So if you can keep your distance before you line up with them, it makes it very easy to shoot them safely. And before I forget this part, I better go up to this little branch. Darn. If there's a creature at the end of a transporter like this, what will actually happen is the player will get transported and the creature will be pushed backwards as long as there's room to do that. If there's not room to do that, like with the centipede head you see in the room to the left between two transporters, then it'll basically count as a wall. So that transporter room on the left is 2 ways. You can't get trapped there, you don't need to do anything with the centipede head. So here you'd see no wall, so you can't transport until you push the sliders, and then you can. So let's see, where am I going next? Oh, right. So I wrap back around towards the beginning, and this time I do take this path here with the centipede head. I can try and fight these centipedes, but it's really not worth it, because they usually move pretty predictably. And if you're not paying close attention, it might look like you can just skip this green key, but you're gonna need to open that door to get out of here. And similarly, if you look down 2 pieces into the blue room, where there's the transporter pointing up, if you don't look too closely, you might think it links up with this one here and gives you a free energizer, but in reality there's just an empty space up above it, and you'll get trapped and die. So now we get to light some bombs and run. And again, but this time run, grab a key. You could wait it out if you want. So then there's this part here, where you go through the transporter and it pushes the boulder away. And then you have to just like run. And I just don't think there's a way to do this without getting hit. Unless you get really lucky. And there's some bombs here that serve no purpose. And now our ammo worries are over. And you see a lot of these like overly engineered designs just to make things more complex looking. Like this is just an easy 2-way path, but it's made up with all these 1-way transporters instead, so it just looks more intimidating than if there had just been a plain old path. Same with this transporter, because I mean, you either have the key to open that purple door or you don't. As long as you get out of here without getting trapped, you're good. You can destroy gems if the player shoots them, which is generally worth it if there's enemies on the other side, because getting hit will take 10 health and picking up the gem instead will only give you 1. So you're generally going to be a lot better off just losing that 1 gem. And if we hadn't, again, pushed these sliders at the very beginning of the level, you would get here, you would push these away, and you'd have those ones right up here, and you'd still be stuck, which I learned the hard way. And that's it for this level. Now here's where we get to the other. This one is probably the most difficult level in the game. Is what are we at? 7x7? 49 easy pieces. And there are a lot of pieces, and there's just a lot going on at all times. First and foremost, again, you better open this 1-way gate Otherwise, at the very end of the level, you're going to be stuck. When I first got to this portion, I just saw like this area here with nothing but a centipede. I was like, oh, pieces are now too small to make puzzles, and it's going to shift to more action. But it absolutely does not. There are going to be puzzles until the end. So then we get to here, where you get this thing. So we pick up the purple key. And the Energizer isn't pushable. So the spinning gun there that's trying to attack us with stars can't really do anything. And then we pick it up, and it's the same thing. Because when you're energized, the game's code for movement actually reverses for moving towards the player. So monsters and stars and everything that tries to move towards the player will instead try to run away. So you actually have to wait for the Energizer to end. And then the stars will start trying to push towards the player, and the boulder will move you safely out. Which is a cool mechanic that I'd never seen used like that before. So there's a lot of transporters on this one. And a lot of red herrings like these sliders, which you do not want to push. Then we get here where you want to just basically get through it. The spinning gun fires a lot faster than the tigers. Well, that went poorly. So now we're going to do the same thing with the Energizer again, where we have to wait it out. And this is another puzzle I don't like, because the stars try to move towards you, but if you're not lined up with them, there's two ways, two directions are going to be considered towards the player. Okay, so they cooperated. You kind of have to hope that the star will block this transporter, because if it doesn't, you're just going to get hit. And with that transporter's space to the right immediately blocked, and instead will warp you all the way to this one, which is very important. And this is another part that caught me off guard. I assumed that this was a bad idea, pushing these boulders. But you actually need to, for reasons we'll see soon enough. We're going to wrap around the bottom here. And speaking of red herrings and stuff, there's this transporter that will just literally never ever be able to go anywhere here. I'll try and call out my movement a bit better, because yeah, if you lose the player, it can get a bit hard to follow with all these transporters. So then this is another part where I got stuck for a while, and eventually I figured this one out, but Celine and I came up with two different solutions to this part of the level, which is really weird, because this is not a game that I would have thought would have multiple solutions, and I think mine is unintended. But it's the way that I figured things out, so that's the way I'm going to do it. So you'll see with these bears, they're going to try and move towards the player, and sort of the immediate reaction you'd think is that right now, where I'm at, if I take the yellow transporter, I'll just get moved like one tile over. So I spent a lot of time trying to find a way to get the bear to move south one tile and block it, so I'd have a two-way transporter. But none of that matters whatsoever. And I don't think what I'm about to do next matters whatsoever either, but it's what I thought was necessary for a while. So we're going to go through this transporter, and these lions, in the cyan room have high intelligence, so they really want to move towards the player whenever they can. So there's a few bombs here, and what Celine did was what you did earlier in the game, where you light a bomb and you use that to backtrack. In her case, she'd light... Actually, I still don't know what she did now that I look at this. But what I did was simply... Oops. Do that. There. But I don't think I need to go in there, at least not yet. This game is weird, is what I'm saying. Anyway, well, yeah, okay, that's why I thought I had to go in there for the longest time, because that does get the bear to move south, so I do have this two-way transporter. But it's actually completely irrelevant and just a giant red herring. So I'm going to wrap around the bottom of the screen, and you can see at the bottom of the screen there's an ammo circling a conveyor. I'm going to want to not pick up the ammo. It's okay to pick it up, but it makes this next part harder. And so what I need to do is push this boulder so that the centipede will start changing direction a bit. And move into the conveyor belts section as well. And similarly, whoa, I want to put that boulder down there too. I want that conveyor area to be blocked a lot. I want to keep the centipede down there. Uh-oh. Well, game over. I need to keep that centipede alive. Save the centipede. So now I ride down towards the conveyor belt and take the transporter, and I wait patiently. I wait patiently because I need to find a way back towards the starting portion of the level. And the only way I could figure out how to do it was by manipulating the centipede to get it down here and wait for it to block the transporter, like we'd been doing previously. Of course, it's being very tedious right now, because it'll generally just keep going in circles like this, and if I clog up the conveyor, by clogging up the conveyor belt like that, it makes it a lot easier to get it to divert to the right here. So I need to wait for it to block like this. It doesn't have to be blocked all the way. It has like ammo and 3 segments like that. All that needs to be there is enough so that the player can't push what's on the other side, which could be as short as a head and a centipede head and a centipede segment. But if you have the centipede at the full size, that just makes it a lot easier to time as well. So now I can go through this red transporter here in the lower right, and it's not going to take me to the one that's immediately to the left. It's going to jump me 1, 2, 3 pieces over to the left and put me at the green transporter. And that took me a very, very long time to figure out. So now I'm back here and immediately want to go through that green transporter again, because it's not going to take me to the red one. It's going to take me to the green one. And now I can safely, with my blue key that I picked up from that area that had the centipede, go this way. So that gets me the yellow key in the far left here. And I can wrap around down here and take this transporter as much as I like into this section here. And if you look down and right a little bit into the red room, there's a spinning gun and a ruffian. And I want that ruffian there, or the tile to the left, because I need the ruffian to block the bullets of the spinning gun to be able to make it safely through here. Because otherwise that happens. So now I get to do this little conveyor belt dance until the ruffian moves back into place again. Which I need the ruffian to cooperate and for it to have a free tile and not a bullet above it. So hopefully this doesn't take too long. It took too long. Try it again. This ruffian is extremely rude. So yeah, finding that transport, I don't think that's intentional, my centipede-based solution. I really do not think that's the way you're supposed to do it, because Staline's solution, which I don't recall the specifics of, is a lot more straightforward. And it's kind of, well, straightforward for this game. There we go. Okay. So this time the bombs are a trick and horrible idea because they will kill that ruffian and we really want that ruffian to be there still. So you can wrap around the bottom, get this last key, and immediately head back. And again, we gotta wait patiently. This time there's no real way to manipulate it other than to just hope. Okay, now I'm gonna shoot this bullet because I don't want that stupid ricochet noise sound playing for the rest of the level. So now we can do a little bit of key cleanup. You can wrap around the left side to the right, head up a bit, and immediately wrap around again up here, which takes us to this upper area with the line. You can get rid of our not really optional white key and get a couple more torches. Now we have the two keys that are needed to go up here. And this is where it becomes apparent that you need to push those pushers at the very start of the level to be able to do this. So there's two keys left. There's the red key if you look on the far right in the yellow room, and the green key if you look, I guess, just southwest of it in another yellow room. And you need the red key to to get the green key. And the green key will open up the exit, which is in the bottom row in the white room. So one other thing we need to do here is wrap around like this and get our red key. And you have to time the spinning gun a bit. And the way the spinning gun is set up, if you stand here, it's going to keep firing. But if you move one tile away, it won't. So you can just quickly skirt around there. Then we can safely get up here. There's a bunch of bears. And I spent a lot of time too trying to figure out something as well with this room. Because if you get a bear to stand here, if you could somehow be on the other side of this transporter with a bear there, you would then warp all the way to the top right purple room. And that sounded important because so much of this level is figuring out how to backtrack safely. But again, that's just one of many red herrings that you'll find yourself going around looking for. So another reason that I'm confident that my centipede solution is not the correct one is that I've got this spot here. I'm going to just make a save and demonstrate it. I'm going to push this slider up, and then the pusher to the left will immediately push me through the transporter. Like that. Oh, actually I lied. I will end up doing that later. But what that does, though, is it's a one-way trip to that green transporter area in the bottom row towards the center. And you need to get there several times. But generally speaking, all the ways that do it are one way. But my centipede alternative lets you, realistically, you can just keep doing that if you wanted. So instead, if you remember in the previous level, there was a room kind of like this, with a centipede just completely surrounded by transporters. Here it's moving. So here you have to time things, because centipedes are not pushable. You cannot push a centipede. Just try. So you, honestly, the best way to do it is to pause and just wait, and make sure the centipede is blocking the transporter that you want to go through, because that will make it take you to the other transporter. Otherwise, you'll get put inside there with the centipede and be trapped forever. So now we can wrap again to the lower right. We don't need our centipede here anymore, so I'm just going to leave him be. But we do have that red key now, so we can get this. Wrap around once more. No, I'm sorry. We don't want to wrap around there. We get the green key, and we go down to this area again, through the green, wrap around to the top. And here you can see, if I take a step down, that top bear there will start moving right. Which is good, because we like them to be out of our way. So now again we're going to go down here. Celine's solution involved, I think it was like, yeah, you took this blue transporter here, killed the lions, and then lit one of the bombs. And that would let you get back up, because we're doing this again. I call this bomb jumping. So that transporter, by using the bomb's explosion again, got blocked, and so it had to send us to the next transporter, which is way over at the very start of the level in this yellow room. So now we're at the literal beginning of the level. Except this time we have the green key for the exit, which is very good. And I'm staring to make sure I'm remembering. Oh yeah, I'm overcomplicating things. I can just go right up here. Wrap around, and there's the exit. Okay, so yeah, I was correct in that I did not use this other one-way transporter here. That'll let you go toward the bottom center once. I don't know. Basically, whatever the heck you just watched was not the intended solution, but it works. And that is 49? Yeah, 49 easy pieces. So this is the final normal level. It is 64 easy pieces. Something about extrapolating 15 things that double every 18 sooner than you think. It's a lot. It's really a lot to take in. But honestly, if you're playing this game normally, by the time you get to this part, you're going to have so much of an understanding of what this game makes you do that it's not that bad. I think it only took me like 15-20 minutes to beat this level for the first time. It's far more clear what you need to do because you know what you should be looking for. So we're starting towards the bottom right in this red and blue room with some ammo. And immediately we're going to light a bomb and run away to the top of the next screen. Just to be safe from the explosion. I think that's the first time I ever had it actually hurt that centipede on the right. But that doesn't matter, we don't need that centipede. So we can wrap back around and this time follow the path a little. Take out this centipede. I don't think you could actually get through this pacifist. Maybe you can. I'm curious how much of a pacifist run of this you could do. There's definitely got to be spots where... Yeah, actually the final area definitely is going to require you killing things. So we get that centipede out of the way, so we can go through here and push this boulder. So we can go through here and push this boulder. And now we can safely move back and forth around here. We've opened up this area considerably. But here... Oh, actually I forgot the most obvious thing. Which is... No, wait. What did I forget? Oh, I'm just being blind. Ignore me. So we can keep following this path where there's ammo. There's a locked door, but we can still take this transporter. And you see there's some blink walls down here. They're kind of slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do this. And I want to crack that breakable open, and yeah, now there's a very big blink wall. But that's actually very good and important. And despite what it might look like, you can very much make it through here safely. You just gotta be quick. So you can take this right path and wrap around to the top, because these sliders are very bad to push. Take this transporter, pick up a key, open a door, get a torch, grab an ammo. Then this is a one-way gate, which wraps around again to the beginning of the level. But now we have a red key. So this time we can open this red door. Ooh. I don't think I've ever seen the creatures get here. This is going to take me to the yellow. That's not good. Okay. I'm going to have to fix this. I'm going to have to get those creatures to move. So to do that, I want to get down here and wrap around again. And yeah, hopefully, yeah, I can lure them out a bit. Because we are going to block that transporter, but not like that. And not just yet. So now I should be able to go up around here and get into this area where those creatures are. Much better. Some more ammo. At this point the game just gives you so much ammo. There's thankfully plenty. Okay. So now we can get this key. There's some enemies and stuff up above that we are going to completely ignore. Instead, just turning around. Carefully pushing these boulders. Because we need one of those boulders to block that transporter. And then again, carefully, we need to carve out this area here because we need this breakable wall. Otherwise the transporter won't be blocked because we'll just push the boulder instead. So this will let us go around here and take this transporter now to the yellow one instead. And with the blink wall, depending on whether it's on or off, will determine whether this transporter takes us back to the red one or just one tile to the right, which is good. And we're actually going to want to block that red transporter off completely from the other side as well. And to do that we have to have the blink wall on and push these sliders through. So now in reality, if the blink wall is off, we'll go one tile to the right. And if the blink wall is on, we're going to jump a couple rooms over into that purple room with all the boulders and the blue key. Like that. That's how we get that key. And there's a nice little slider to push, which is going to free some tigers, but it's not really going to matter. So we can jump on back, wait for the blink wall to turn off, and we're free to move around again. Now we have blue and cyan, and is this when we go? Oh, right. I always forget about this. So we're going to want to open those blue and cyan doors, which means going back towards the beginning here, and there's this yellow transporter that we just completely ignored, which will jump us over like 4 or 5 rooms to that yellow room with a little centipede head that we have to time our transport through, because we don't want to get immediately hit. So we get to do that. So you can see me towards the far left by this purple one. And now I'm in this area safely. And I have enough keys to open up what I need to open up. And I also need to go down here, take the transporter. Or no, don't take the transporter yet. Need to go down this way. That's what I'm doing wrong. That would have been bad. Need to go around this way and not take transporters. And clear this path open here. So now I get this open space. And I can use the transporter to go back and forth. Because the conveyors are generally one way. So now I get to go up here. I'm going to open this door, and this pusher is going to push me. And I'm going to transport all the way to the rightmost area of the level. And there's all the tigers, but that doesn't matter because we're not actually going to be in here. We're going to transport right back out towards the blue room in the center. And now we're free to move around some more again. But we don't have a single key right now. But that's okay. I hope. So I'm gonna, head south down here through the blink wall and the red transporters towards the beginning. And go into this room with the ricochets and the line walls. If that spinning gun fires, the bullet will basically ricochet along that path, so you do need to go quick enough. Okay, and again, I'm going to have a pusher. I'm going to move south, and the pusher is going to push me 2 rooms over into the purple room, where I will immediately move to the right because I'll be lined up with a spinning gun, and that's bad. So I did not immediately move right. Good job, me. Then we get this blink wall and some bears. This is like not even a puzzle at this point. You just block it and then crush the other bear. Wrap around to the bottom here. And you gotta move fast because this is when you discover that that spinning gun shoots stars. Well, I guess you don't have to move that fast, because they probably won't go out there unless you start wrapping around and doing things that you shouldn't be doing. So we can open up this pusher gate here. Get rid of these centipedes. And those gems look great, but if you pick them up you will soft lock the game, and that's bad. What you need to do is take this transporter here and hold up. Just let the pusher do the work for you. Hold up. And you get that little mess down there. But now you can at least go up here and get this key. If you move too slow, you'll go through the transporter, and depending on what the other side looks like, get stuck. Well, you'll get stuck because you won't be able to get this key ever again. So now, once more, you get to think, what on earth is going to happen if I go through this transporter, which is currently blocked by a gem, a tiger, and a bomb? And I'm not even entirely sure, I just know that it'll work. Okay, so the gem gets quietly crushed. Which, whatever, who cares? There's just the tiger and the bomb, and again, you have to take damage here. I don't think there's any alternative. I hope it gets the tiger. Thank you. Okay. So I'm actually really low on health. But I think we'll still manage. Is there any more gems? There's 3 more gems. That stinks. But now we have the yellow key. You can go back towards the very beginning. And head through our blink wall area one more time. Take that first path. Oh, I should point out, blink walls, when they hit the player, they push them out of the way. And so, if I was in this like long corridor up here with that extra long white blink wall, and surrounded by walls on both sides, and I got hit by the blink wall, I would just immediately get a game over no matter how much health I had. I'd be crushed, essentially. So, step very quickly through those. But now, down here, I can wrap around to the top and open this door and immediately go back. And this time take the other exit from the same room. And this time, head through here and down this one. Yes. Wait. No. Yes. Yes. We're good. So head down through here. Pick up these last couple of gems. 19 health. That stinks. I can only get hit once. Light this bomb and wrap around the screen to not have to worry about it. And that bomb is important because there are some breakable walls in that first piece in the top left that I need to blow up. So now I get 3 energizers, which is very generous. I need one, and I need to hold right to break through the transporters, wrap around the screen, and hit the brakes, because if I go through that purple transporter, I will be stuck. So you gotta pay close attention to what you're doing. And that'll let you run past these spinning guns safely and get that one last line. You can head down here, wrap around to the top, where the bomb was used to blow up these breakable walls, and so now the boulder can be pushed. Boulder gets pushed. Key goes through a transporter, along with the boulder, but not the player, because if the player did, they would get stuck. So now I'm going to go down here, and to hope to God that the tiger doesn't hit me. There we go. If you had a really good eye, you could have seen that the tiger got pushed down a tile, and that let me safely shoot them. So I get this last ruffian. Nope. I'm reloading. Nope. Much better. So now I need to get that purple key, which thankfully is pretty straightforward. I just get to wrap around the bottom here. Yet again. That was like the last possible second to not get killed. And again, one more time. Through here. And the yellow transporter. Back to that room. We're going to want to get a second energizer to go through the guns one more time. I don't know why there's 3. It's very generous. But it works. And that is 64 easy pieces. And the next level is the final level. And a Stark. And you have 6 torches. And it's not actually a puzzle, thank God. I probably scared you all half to death like I was scared half to death. This is basically like the ending to Super Metroid or something. This is the escape sequence. There is no other way to describe it. I'm actually going to stumble around slightly blindly at first because you really get like just enough torches to be able to do this. Oh, see, I just managed to shoot something in the dark. That's because I did this a couple hours ago. Oh, yeah. Alright, I'm gonna try and do this in a single sequence because it's way more fun that way. Believe it or not. I'm already lost. Oh, because I did take a few steps and saved. Well, close enough to a single sequence. Alright, here goes, final gauntlet. There's nothing to do but run and shoot and just not get killed like that. I'm gonna get killed like 5 times. So, expect... Jesus. You have to pay as much attention to the layout as you can, because the more you can do in the dark, the better off you are. So I went through the board transition and immediately landed on a centipede head and died. That was good. Yeah, you can see my high scores here. Honestly, I don't know how I lost so much health. Cool. Alright, alright. I'm gonna cheat for 1 health. I'm gonna insist on doing this in 1 sitting. But that should be more than enough. Oh! That's a coincidence. Aw. That was fun while it lasted. And now I'm just being lazy, and I'm still gonna get myself killed because I'm being lazy. There is no time to stop and wait for enemies. You cannot let them wait to get them in a good position. You just have to make your move. There we go. And if you're paying close attention, it'll look like we're doing the same thing twice. In reality, there's 2 boards for this level. that are very similar, but not quite the same. We have one more torch after this one goes out, but I think this is the end. Come on, tiger. Tiger. Tiger, uppercut. Okay, there we go. We're at the home stretch, we're good on time. I got here a couple times, my first attempts, like right here, and died to this spinning gun at the very end of the game. And this is it, this is the end. And we come to a decision. This is the only scroll, this is the only thing we get. Exclamation mark or question mark? What's it gonna be? Well, we're gonna do both, but I mean, you can probably guess at least what one of them does. And that's, I guess, well, it's an astonishing 1-to-1 vote. So let's just get going and go with exclamation mark. And that's it. That's 16 easy pieces. Oh, weird. It didn't show up on like the Stream HUD thing, but it did show up on the actual Twitch chat window that I look at, so don't worry, I did see that vote. But no, there is more. Well, there's not more, there's just the other. Did I not? Oh yeah, I saved on nice. There we go. Okay. So, I guess this is the game's final trick. I'm gonna actually have to change my Stream HUD for this to really demonstrate the full effect. So goodbye to chat and my fun little HUD, and hello to there we go, it popped in, and hello to this, the plain old full screen ZZT. This is 80 by 25 full resolution, baby. You get to see that sidebar that I never show anybody. And if you pick question mark, something I never would have thought you could do happens. Okay, I hit enter. And nothing happens, but... So you see this and you think, okay, ZZT crashed. You can do that with a scroll pretty easily. If you make a scroll try and walk or transform into something, those commands work great with objects, but scrolls automatically like destroy themselves when you touch them, and ZZT doesn't like them, like non-existent scrolls trying to move. But this isn't actually a crash, because, you know, when ZZT crashes, even if it crashes in a way that it still shows all the text, you're going to be back at the DOS prompts. And inevitably when that happens, I want to clear the screen, you know, because, I mean, I'm typing. You can't type in ZZT. You just can't do that. That's not an option. So you want to clear your screen away and go back and launch ZZT again. And you hit enter. and nothing happens. And you try another DOS command. Try some more. And then you realize something is really up. This is not normal behavior for ZZT or DOSBox or anything else. And at this point I was just stumped. I had no idea what was going on. Until I looked at the code and figured it out. So let me type something else. And now I'm gonna hold the Alt key. I'm gonna press some keys. That's not very helpful. Oh, right, because I'm supposed to hit the Control key, not the Alt key. But we start getting some ASCII characters. And what's that, F? H. And they're control codes as well. Like, we managed to find Control H is a backspace, as is actually pressing backspace. And so we just go through this, messing around. I hit Control Z, I hit Control M, and we are back in ZZT, which was running the whole time. And what got typed by me is now showing up in a scroll in ZZT, which is news to me. And not only that, it's kind of being parsed a little. You can see my dollar signs for "thank you for watching" go through the text parser that ZZT has, and it shows up white and centered. And we get this scroll, and I mean, it's a scroll. We close it out, and we are back. The game is running. There's still that spinning gun. And I had to know what on earth was going on. And you can still see some of what I typed based on what parts of the screen refreshed, and you can do things in ZZT that will refresh portions of the screen, like a cheat. Oh, that only does the sidebar. Like trying to light a torch when you don't have one, displaying a message. You don't have any torches, and that redrew the border. Or you could actually take the darkness off. That redraws everything. So now the question is, what the hell just happened? And reality, so we go through support 7, no, support 8. You can also see like some work in progress levels, which is really neat. There's not much to how Flimsy went about making this, but you can kind of figure some stuff out from this. All these line walls are the paths through the pieces. But I need to find, yeah, board 9. Here's our scroll. And here's our weird command, which is !-con. And let me just double check something real quick for demonstration purposes. Okay, that'll work. So what's going on here is there's an undocumented but discovered feature of ZZT to open text files. If you begin a hyperlink, like this first one, !E, semicolon, and you pick that, it jumps to the label E and ends the game. If you do something with a dash to start with, and then a file name, We'll call this 17, because I don't like editing. So we're going to open robot.txt, which is just a file in the same ZZT folder that's already there. And it'll display it. And this isn't the most useful thing, because if you put ZZT oop in here, it's running through the help file viewer, basically. That's why you can see this Alt-P to print stuff. That's not normally there if you read a scroll. So it won't actually execute any ZZT oop. It'll do formatting, like the $signs, but you can't like write code in external files and run it or anything like that. So it's not really the most useful feature. A few games would use it as a way to store like text dumps, basically, and not have to worry about the file size of a board getting too big, because it ends up getting read from a file instead. But Flimsy had some interesting ideas. And again, went to !con. And if you know your DOS, con is going to be the console, which you would normally do something like copy con at the DOS prompt, and that would let you start writing a blank file. I think you have to actually name the file, copy con file.txt. I don't actually know my DOS, I'm a big fraud. But anyways, you would do that and it would read whatever you typed until you did the end of file character. And that's basically what's happening here. ZZT is reading from the keyboard. It's just taking input. You are writing a file while running ZZT, and then when you close that file, it goes back to ZZT and it displays that file that you just wrote. And that's what Flimsy just had the idea to try for this perfect ending to such a bizarre game. And you can do weird stuff with that. No, that's not the right file. But actually, yes, you can see this is like me trying to figure out how to get past these blink walls with bombs, trying to set up situations where I could keep trying without loading saves. But it was the wrong solution. So I don't have my file for that. Well, you can do it in this file anyways, sure. So we can open our console. And do something a little weird. How did I do it before? Oh, that's right, there's a line. One of these is a line break. There's a tab. Now I can't remember how I did it. But essentially, if you input the keyboard command for some line breaks, you can just scroll the screen. Oh yeah, there we go. I just didn't hit enter enough. I'm being silly. You can just scroll ZZT right out of here. And we get to look at what I typed. Goodbye ZZT, there's just no more sidebar. And I forgot to get rid of my yellow border, and unfortunately zapping is going to refresh the tiles, but it's a complete void. You can run around. And it's all an illusion. Everything, like the level border is still here, I can't move farther than this. And like if I open the cheat prompts, it starts redrawing those portions of the screen. You can be quiet, be noisy. You can light the torch again and get the border back. And basically until something redraws the screen, that's what you get. And so that's Flimsy's final weird puzzle for 16 easy pieces. just figuring out what the heck it ends with. I hope you had fun watching that. It's quite a game, and probably ruined now if you actually tried to play it yourself, but wait a few months to forget all of this, and then play 16 easy pieces, and you'll be in for a really fun time. As incredibly difficult as that game is to get through the first time, it's really just a blast watching it slowly come together until those 16 pieces really are easy pieces. So, thank you so much for watching. We'll be streaming again in 2 weeks probably. Until then, we'll see you later.